Good evening, Guardians, and welcome back to Tower Talk. This is episode number 32. I'm Ben, on the other end of the microphone there. That's Brent. Tower Talk is our Destiny-focused video discussion series. Brent, where you and I hop on here, we talk any and everything in the world of Destiny. We have a damn fine time doing it. If you're wondering why I look different this week, it's because this new diet I'm on is really working wonders. And no, so we've been dealing with technical issues aplenty for the last hour or so, trying to get everything in order for the show here. For whatever reason, we just cannot get my video feed to function properly. So for the remainder of this week's episode, I will be a guardian holding a Cerberus. I hope I'm a warlock at the very least. Did you at least pull that?
It looks like you're wearing a bond, so there you go.
All right, there you go. Yeah, at least made me a warlock. So there's that going on. So. Kookiness aside, with the show this evening, how you doing this evening, Brent?
Dude, I'm irritated as hell. Like, I seriously want to just put my fist through this monitor and call it a night. Yeah, dude. Like, when it rains, it pours. Mm-hmm. And it's been pouring a lot for, like, the last hour. Cannot get anything to go. VOX Insanity's in the chat. JD's in the chat. This is not the Halo Infinite chat. Sorry, JD.
JD? What the hell's he doing on a Destiny show?
I know, right? He must be really... He must be snowed in with no internet, and he's using his phone to watch us. And I appreciate you for being here, JD. I hope you're staying warm, dude.
Do you have a Warzone stream to watch or something? Like, what's going on?
Man. Oh, Fear of the Bears in the chat. What's up, fellas? Don't be sad, Brent. We need you. Oh, dude, I'm seriously just pissed here. Like, I literally just want to do a regular stream, and I can't get Boyce's picture on here. So now you get to look at his Guardian with the Cerberus. That's the best I can do for you tonight. I'm irritated, but hey, let's talk about Destiny 2. If there's one thing that's gonna make me smile, dude, it's gonna be talking about Destiny 2, even though they can't see your ugly mug. Let's get into it, dude.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about on the show tonight. So let's hop into it. So we've had kind of a busy week here, Brent. So we hopped in. It's a curse week in the Dreaming City. So we finally took Frankie to the Shattered Throne last night.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. Really liked that mission. Hoping that Bungie does some more of of those like dungeon style encounters in the future. They have to, right? I mean, people love the Shattered Throne. It's been a huge success. It's only a matter of time, I think, before they add some more of that stuff into the game. So, had a lot of fun doing that. And then, of course, the big thing that happened this week is the Last Word quest went live, and you hopped in there on day one and got it. I was like, man. So, yeah, I am still in the beginning stages of the quest. I'm in the Crucible part right now. I'm not worried about it though, like some people. I know I'm gonna get through it, so I'm not worried about that part of the quest. It's actually not too bad at all. So, if you are worried at all about the Crucible part of the Last Word quest, don't. I mean, if you're basically you have to have higher than a 0.5 KDR to make it through that quest, which all of us should have at this point. So, not too worried about that. But Brent, you went to the entire Last Word quest, and I want to get your thoughts on it. But before we do that, Bungie knows how to make a trailer, right? They know how to get you hyped up for their game.
Oh yeah.
So prior to the Last Word coming out, they put together a little hype trailer, like, hey, the Draw quest is live, the Last Word's back. There's a Guardian out here shooting people up. It's all fun and games. Rah! We're all excited about that. And then the last 5 seconds of that trailer, They let you know, hey man, every hero needs a villain. Coming in Season of the Drifter.
No boy.
We get a wall and a bunch of thorns getting shot into it. So
sure.
Clearly hinting that Thorn will be returning next season with Season of the Drifter. So that is sure to be the big exotic quest that's attached to that season. Many people excited to see what form Thorn will take once Season of the Drifter comes around. But Brent, I wanna get your thoughts on the Last Word quest. I wanna know what you thought about going through that whole mission, and what's your take on Thorn coming back, dude. Talk to me about this week in Destiny.
Well, like you mentioned, that trailer was pretty badass, and at the end they give us that little teaser, and we're like, oh my god. And like you said, man, Bungie just knows how to just kind of like poke and prod and get you excited for stuff. So, yeah, I definitely like that they do that. Quick question for the chat. How are the audio levels? Does Boyce sound good? Am I too loud? Is he too loud? Just need like I said, everything is just kind of a hot mess right now. I want to make sure the stream is good for you guys and girls. But, no, on to the Last Word. Awesome quest. I always stress I start to stress anytime I get to a quest step where it says, do this, 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 and then I see those little words, death impedes progress. And I'm just like, crap. Here and you know, you boys, you've heard me many times when I say if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any at all. And when I go into Crucible sometimes, man, and I get put on crappy teams, the progress impedes a lot because I'm constantly dying. But no, it only took me about, I think, 6 matches. I had to kind of be less aggressive, and that was like this was like the most fun I've had with the blast furnace for the one that I had, because it has the long zoom, it has the range on it. And I was kind of able to sit back while my crew was making moves up ahead. I was able to sit back and just kind of pop people, and that thing is very effective from range. And I was able to get a lot of kills and whatnot. So it was really, really nice to be able to go in there and just. But it was a change of like my style. Like normally I'm very in the mix, running hot into the firefight. I had to keep telling myself, dude, back off a little bit, because if you go in there and you get a kill and you die right away, your progress, it's not as much as you like. But if you get a couple kills and then drop, then you're doing okay. Then you'll make progress. And like I said, I'm not a dominant player in Crucible. You guys have seen it, and it's. For me to knock it out in like 6 or 7 rounds, that's not too bad. So, but I mean, it is stressful. Every time you die, you're like, shit, that just set me back. And then you die twice in a row, and you're like, no. And there was a couple of times where I think I got to like, I had one round where I got up to like, I think it was at 58% of the progress. And then the next round, we went up against a full clan and just got housed. And I went from like 58% down to like, I think I was at like 31. And right there, I was like, okay. Here we go. This is going to be a long grind. But then I strung together a couple good games. The next thing I know, it popped up on the screen. I was like, thank God I can get out of here and move up to the next step. And, that step is probably the hardest one. Even though the final step, there's like 3 or 4 different things you have to do. But that was actually easier to do. It's just a little bit more tedious. You've got to knock out 15 lost sectors. You got to do a couple of witch rituals, which... the best place to do this thing is on Titan. Yep. Hey, Fastback, what's up, dude? How's it going, man?
What's up, Fast?
Yeah, and that was the most tedious part. Is if you do this on Titan, and there's that one witch's ritual that spawns on the rig, and just waiting for that in between, just run to the lost sector where the ogre is, constantly going there, and it works a lot because you have to get a bunch of what are they called? I think hive larvae. And so you're going in there, you're killing hives. So there's a bunch of like hive in there. You're doing precision kills. You're getting all those drops. And then once you get those 75, you still probably need about maybe 6 or 7 more runs in there. You just run in, waste the ogre, run out, go back in. And you're just doing this in between the rituals there. You can try the ritual on Mars, the witch's ritual, but if somebody pops up the
Escalation protocol, it stops it unless it just happens to be the one for that step. So it's better to do it on Titan. But overall, man, it was a nice quest. Go in there. The last mission is actually really, really fun. Quick thing, though, and I want to mention this to those of you that haven't done it yet. In the last mission, I believe it's called The Conversation, you're supposed to hunt down like a gun keeper or somebody, blacksmith or something like that. And in the last room, before you get to him, there are 3 witches surrounding a huge shard, and they're kind of like down in a pit in front of you. And immediately to your left, if you look you go up a little bit, there's enemies up there. And if you go up there and start attacking them, it does start the whole process. But for whatever reason, when you kill everybody and you kill all 3 witches and you finally get rid of the shard and you jump down to the pit where the final encounter is, it's not registering you as getting through that first area. Like the objective stays the same, and you're like, why doesn't it? Why? And so I go through that final area, I kill the boss, but the objective never changed. It's still in the previous room. So I've killed the boss. I'm not getting the last word. Dude, I probably spent about an hour and a half going through that thing over and over again. I'm like, why am I not getting this? Finally, I went on to Bungie.net in the comments, and there were some people that were saying, hey, look, what you have to do is jump down to the shard where the 3 witches are, get their attention, make sure they see you, and then start clearing out everybody. And once I did that and killed the final witches and blew up the shard, then it all started. Then the next objective popped up. I went down, completed the draw contest,
and got my last word. So make sure when you hit that last step of the conversation before, you'll see 3 witches around a shard, jump down to the middle, get their attention, and then you should be fine. Otherwise, you might get stuck in a vicious loop. And that's something they actually talk about. We'll talk about a little bit later on. They mentioned that in the TWAB today. But overall, cool quest line. You're able to knock it out in a day. Don't sweat the first Crucible step. It's not as bad as you think. Just play a little bit more passive. Don't be super aggressive. Stay back. Do some damage that way, and you'll be all right. But overall, and as far as the last word goes, cool-looking gun. I actually got the ornament before I even started the quest, so I had the ornament as kind of like a little incentive to go in there and knock it out. Gun looks great, sounds great, it's fun to use. I still need to master it. I know it's more of a PvP gun, but even against PvE, it's a little unwieldy, but only because I never really used the last word a lot in Destiny 1, so I'm not too familiar with how she handles. But I've seen some videos, and it looks nasty, dude.
Absolutely. Seen a lot of people really having a good time with it, and it's such a unique weapon in Destiny. It's basically like a cowboy gun. It's a 225 round per minute hand cannon. It's the only one in the game, so it's the fastest firing hand cannon we have. It really is meant to just be fired from the hip, So it's just a really cool, a really unique gun, and it is extremely deadly in the right hands. I mean, we're talking a gun in the last word which has potentially the fastest time to kill in the game, or one of the fastest time to kills in the game when compared to all of the other weapons that are in Destiny. So this thing is going to be a nasty, nasty weapon in the Crucible for a long time to come. So it definitely behooves us to wrap our heads around this and figure out exactly how this thing works, because we are going to be seeing a lot more of the last word sniper rifle combo in Crucible now, which was such a popular loadout in Destiny 1. So I'm excited to get my hands on it finally. Once I get through the quest. But one of the things I've seen about the last word, Brent, is a lot of people are really enjoying this quest. They think it's a well put together quest. It's a meaty quest. It's got just the right amount of steps. Even though you knocked it out in one day, I mean that was a lengthy day for you. You spent a lot of time playing the game. You just kind of buckled down and were like, I'm getting this thing right now, and you made it happen. But your overall thoughts on the quest? You think it was a well put together quest? It was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. Like I said, the mission was cool at the end, and when glitch aside, it is a really cool mission, especially the last area you get to. It lives up to the draw, the name of the quest, the draw. It's very, very cool how it plays out and what you have to do to get through it. JD's in the chat. He asked, is the Graviton Lance still good? If so, I'll see you guys this weekend for some D2. I don't think the Graviton Lance will ever not be good. I think that thing will always be lethal in the right hands. I've used the Graviton Lance. I'm pretty good with it in PvE, but in PvP, it does require a certain level of skill. And I'll sit there and aim at people, and I'll shoot all day, and I'm not doing anything. And then I'll peek my head out and somebody from a distance just gets rid of me immediately. I'm like, okay, there is just a special group of people out there who are really, really good with the Graviton Lance, and I ain't one of them.
Yep. If you can land your headshots and you can land them from the optimal range with that thing, yeah, it's very dangerous, very, very deadly. Especially,
what's up, Cooper?
Especially when you start. What's up, Coop? When you start like getting those exploding rounds and they're tracking the enemies around you, and you start to get bonus damage around them. So that's when that gun becomes extremely dangerous. So I haven't used the Graviton in Crucible in a while. I'll have to roll it back out one of these days.
Well, remember now, we'll talk about it in a second too, but the Whisper of the Worm quest on the 29th will be available every day. And that's the area down in that pit in the Whisper area where you can run down there, and there's all those
shadow thralls.
The shadow thralls, and that's where if you go down there with the Graviton Lance, I mean they just keep spawning, and those things die instantly from the explosions of it. So you can get all those kills that you need. So now that thing is available, JD, on the 29th, or actually it's available now. The Whisper of the Worm is available every single day. That quest is available on all public events, so it's not just the one that you need. All public events in that area on IO, you can go in there, and when you get down to that one area where there's like a green room, I believe it is, there's a little crack in the floor. Drop down in there. There's a bunch of shadow thrall like everywhere, and if you just keep using that, you'll be just fine, man. You'll get that catalyst real quick.
Yeah. Of course, the big part of that is making sure you have the catalyst first.
Right. Yeah. Make sure you have that.
So that catalyst was only available during faction rallies. So it's no longer available to obtain right now. But that's a little hint for what we're going to talk about later in the show.
Ooh.
You like that? Like that?
Oh yeah, I like it.
So we in the business call a tease. So
Yeah, that's what you are, a big old tease.
yeah, so the last word quest is out there. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. The gun looks like it's a lot of fun. Yeah, just go watch some of the videos of some of these people using the last word, and you'll see that it looks like a gun worth grinding for. Now, Brent, last word wasn't the only exotic we grabbed this week, or you grabbed. So last night when we jumped in and did the Shattered Throne, we were also in the middle of our Wish Ender quest, and we went ahead and finished that off. And it's really cool how that quest adds a whole nother layer to that mission and gives you just a whole nother set of objectives. I really like the Shattered Throne, and I really like the quest for the Wish Ender. I thought it was a lot of fun. But we have that bow in our possession now, finally. So it's been a very productive beginning to this reset week for Destiny for us. Have you fired up the Wish Ender at all? Have you got a chance to give it a whirl?
Dude, we sit there and we get it, and then we're like, okay, now we got to go do. I think we went out and did some forges, and I was like, well, I'm not going to use this in the forge, so I put it away. I fired off one round when we first arrived. It sounded good, but obviously this is where I want to take this thing in the Crucible. That's where I want to have. I have the Oathkeeper gauntlets, and if I have that with this, it's going to be a lethal combination. I'm gonna have to get really good with this bow, but no, dude, I'm really, really, really excited to try this thing out, like in a PvP environment. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's what that thing's made for. That thing's made to go into the Crucible and dominate. Also, speaking of bows, I grabbed Le Monarch as well when we did that last forge last night.
Yeah, you got both of them last night.
So it was a hot exotic bow day for me. So I got that as well. So I'm looking forward to trying that one out. But yeah, very eventful first couple days. I definitely want to spend this weekend trying to get last word myself. So I'm going to put some time into that. I do want to utilize Mayhem while that playlist is available. First of all, that playlist is just fun with all the supers and heavy ammo and everything that goes into that one. So that one's a lot of fun to just go in there and goof around with, but it's also going to be helpful to get through some of these steps with the last word. So that's kind of what we've been up to with this week in Destiny. But you know, the big thing this week, Brent, was not only that the last word was available, but update 2.1.4 went live. So this is a significant sandbox change for this game. There's a lot of stuff that was touched and a lot of stuff that is different if you haven't played the game since Tuesday. So I want to go through. I want to highlight some of these things. I want to get your thoughts on it, and then if there's anything in particular that stands out to you, I want to get your thoughts on that as well in terms of what we've seen from update 2.1.4 right now. So this one went live on Tuesday with the last word quest, and the big driving feature of this update was the changes to the original supers that came out with Destiny 2. So, Brent, starting things off, I want to talk about what's going on with the Hunter here. So some big time changes to the Gunslinger. Golden Gun increased damage to bosses by 40%. That's a lot. This includes both the 6-shooter variant and the Celestial Nighthawk. The 6-shooter base damage increased from 275 to 300 per shot. Kills now return a bullet to Golden Gun's magazine. I've seen this thing in action. It looks disgusting in the Crucible. So I think we're going to be seeing Golden Gun a lot more in the Crucible than we were a few days ago. The Line 'em Up perk doubled precision damage bonus per stack of the buff. In terms of the Practice Makes Perfect perk, your stack limit has been increased from 3 to 5, and your super regen modifier has been increased by 20%. So all of this stuff going to be working together to make sure that you have this super more often and it lasts longer. And then we have what's going on with Blade Barrage as well. So that impact damage, or that initial attack from that, decreased from 150 to 35, and then the explosion damage increased from 150 to 250. So basically, they wanted to put the majority of that damage in the explosion, not on the initial impact. It will also now deal self-damage. So as an area of effect attack, if you throw it against the wall or if you're too close to an enemy, you will now sustain damage yourself. They've also fixed an issue with the projectiles tracking allies with the Blade Barrage special as well. So Brent, a lot of stuff going on with Gunslinger, which I think, gun to your head, you could probably say this is your favorite class of Hunter. I want to get your thoughts though, man. What do you think about what's going on? Not only with what they've done to buff Golden Gun and that portion of the super tree, but what they've done to kind of reel in Blade Barrage a little bit.
Well, first of all, I was using Gunslinger when I was going through those the lost sector on the rig, going through and I mean, yeah, it's really badass because there's so many hive everywhere, and this was, and you're sitting there, and I think the most I got off, I was close to like 13 shots, dude.
Wow.
Like I was just wasting hive everywhere. So that was really, really fun there. And then when I went over to do mayhem for the one of the final steps for the last word, where you had to get a bunch of the what is it, the
medals,
revenge, yeah,
the revenge medals, the blood for blood.
Medals. And going in there, dude, and I was using Blade Barrage in there. It was still pretty lethal. Like, it's still pretty nasty in the group. But I did kill myself with it because I had got shot by a guy, and when I came around the corner, there was a bunch of them, and I threw it, like, point blank, and it did kill me. Like, I died instantly, but I did kill everybody else. But, no, yeah, Blade Barrage is still nasty. It's still beefy as hell. But, yeah, the Gunslinger one, dude, I didn't use that in Crucible, but it was really, really nice in PvE.
Yeah, and I think what they were trying to do with Blade Barrage was really just make you think a little bit more about how you use that super, because how it was a few days ago prior to the update, you could just run in there with reckless abandon, just throwing that thing any and everywhere, guys right in front of you, just throw it. I mean, it didn't matter. You just throw the thing any and every way that you wanted to, and it would do its thing and kill the enemy. So now you've at least got to think about it a little bit. Like, all right, make sure I'm not too close to the guy. Make sure I'm not against the wall. Make sure that this thing's going to track my target. Make sure that I'm not going to get killed in retaliation here before the explosion goes off. So there's at least a little bit of strategy that goes into it now. So I think that was kind of the idea behind it, not to really nerf the thing, so to speak. So I do think that Blade Barrage will be nasty for some time to come. In terms of Mobius Quiver, Brent, this is one of the options on the Night Stalker. Do you ever use Mobius Quiver?
No,
not at all. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you use this, but I'm curious with the changes to it. So tethered targets now have the full damage increase rather than needing to be tethered by multiple shadow shots. Additionally, the shadow shot damage bonus to tethered targets has been increased. Mobius Quiver tether radius increased by 20%. The Mobius Quiver tether lifetime has also been increased, and they made it easier to fire successive shadow shots. They've also noted that this is the kind of first step towards improving this super, so it will be something that's on the table for some time to come as they continue to try to make it viable. With what they've done so far, Brent, does this make you want to play Mobius Quiver at all?
I didn't want to, but when I was doing Mayhem, there were people using that, and it was pissing me off. So really? I know it is effective. It's effective in PvP, but I didn't actually use it. But the people that were using it, it was causing issues. Gotcha.
So I will be on the lookout for that once I head into Mayhem. You yourself, though, do you see yourself using this at all? Or is there more they're going to have to do to it?
Not in a PvP setting. It's still going to be mostly Blade Barrage or Gunslinger and at times Knights Spectral Blades, but not going to be using Mobius Quiver too much in there.
Yeah. Speaking of the Spectral Blades, so a couple small nerfs to the super, and Spectral Blades is a nasty super. I mean, when this thing gets popped, the minute you see this guy in the shadows, you're like, all right, I'm screwed. I'm dead. There's almost nothing you can do. But Spectral Blades is very, very disgusting, and they went in there and tweaked with it a little bit. So bonus damage resistance while in stealth has been decreased from 15% to 5%. While in Spectral Blades and in stealth, total damage resistance is 62%, which still sounds like a lot to me. Total super duration while invisible has been decreased by 3.67 seconds. That's a long super. If you've ever either popped it or watched somebody kill you with it.
Yeah, because you're already sprinting as it is, and you can get from one side of the map to the other pretty quickly with that super. So I haven't used that one yet with this decrease in time. You're still very, very fast from what I can see other people using it, but yeah, you're not gonna be able. I don't think you're gonna be able to go coast to coast anymore and go for that 7th column with it.
Yeah, that was always my favorite thing when getting killed by Spectral Blades is when you respawn, you come out onto the map, and that dude is still running around. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, when is this thing gonna end?
Dude, just run away. Don't just get away from him. It's so easy. I mean,
when the mobility of the Spectral Blade super is like 700 times what I have as a Warlock, it's there's not much I can do.
Oh, poor little Warlock.
You stop it. Well, with these small changes to the super, will this have any effect on this, Brent? You think, or is this pretty much this thing still going to be a beast?
Yeah, I got wrecked by it. I mean, it came up quick, and it wiped. The guy that was using it just wiped us all out. So I mean, it looked effective. Like I said, I didn't see him on the other side of the map when we spawned, and I don't know if somebody took him out, but it was still pretty lethal.
Gotcha. Let's move over to the Warlock now. So I want to talk about what's going on with Voidwalker. So there's two big things here. First of all, both Cataclysm and the Vortex version of Nova Bomb have been touched. I'm specifically interested in the Cataclysm one, which is the one I really like. So the initial detonation, the damage has been increased from 900 to 1500. That's a pretty significant increase. The detonation radius has increased from 8 to 10 meters, also a significant increase. The secret projectile detonation damage has been increased from 205 to 300. It's basically a 33% increase in that. That's really good. Improved secret projectile turning radius and homing to make it more consistent to use against bosses and single targets. So this is huge. So if you've ever used this version of Nova Bomb before, when you throw it, it hits the enemy. The homing projectiles come out of the explosion and they attack the enemies nearby. Mm-hmm. But if you're throwing it at a single target or a boss, you obviously want those homing bombs to then go after the boss or the single target you've thrown it at. Wasn't doing that before. Sounds like it's going to have an opportunity to do that now. So even more damage now coming from this. So I'm really, really curious to give this thing a whirl some more and see how this all works out. And then they fixed an issue where the secret projectiles would be prematurely detonated. So I love everything that we're hearing with Nova Bomb. I've always liked Nova Bomb. Obviously, it's a super from Destiny 1, made its way over to Destiny 2. So it's a classic. Glad to see it getting some love here, and hopefully it'll get some more use. It's still going to be effective in PvP and like control and that kind of stuff. It's super effective when it comes to that. But where this thing makes its bread and butter is in PvE against bosses. Mm-hmm. So it's good to see that they've done some stuff to kind of juice it up a little bit. So I'm very, very excited to use that at some point here. Now on the other end of the Voidwalker spectrum is the Nova Warp, and man, this thing got drugged through the coals. I mean, big time. So let's talk about everything that they've done to Nova Warp. And man, Brent, the Nova Warp community not too happy about this. I don't know if this is going to be the final form that Nova Warp takes. I haven't actually got in there to physically give this thing a whirl and see how much differently it feels. But this is significant here, what they've done to this thing. So, and this is pretty much all because of what's gone on in the Crucible. So Nova Warp, slightly slowed movement while charging. The charging costs more energy. The initial charge cost, or each time you trigger your super, increased by 60%. 60%, which means you're now going to use more energy every time you pop that blast by a significant margin. Doesn't end there. Sustained drain cost, or when you hold the charge, that's been increased by 60% as well. Boom. Less time to use the super. Doesn't end there, though, Brent. The duration of the super has been decreased by 6.8 seconds. It's almost 7 seconds slower. So not only are you using more energy and losing your super quicker, but this thing has been decreased in time by almost 7 seconds. That's enormous. They've also, just for shits and giggles, decreased the super damage resistance from 56 to 54%. Like, what is that going to do? What was the purpose of that? So I guess in their testing or whatever, this is what they had to do to bring it in line with where they wanted to bring it in line to. And then damage against Guardians decreased by 27%. I mean, my gosh. Why not just take the Nova Warp out of the game at this point? Like, well, why didn't you just completely eliminate it?
Dude, it was OP as hell. It was super OP.
I get that it needed some attention in PvP. Like, clearly it was a dominant super, but man, this hurts. I mean, this is significant, dude. Like I said, I haven't gone in to actually test this out and see how it feels, but I think there's going to be far fewer Nova Warps running around the Crucible these days. I don't know. In your limited time with the Crucible, do you feel like this thing has been addressed properly? Do you feel like there's going to be less people using this? What's your initial take on it?
Dude, Mayhem was a great spot for that. I'm going to tell you right now, in the matches I played, I didn't see too many people using it, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't see too many people using it.
Yeah. So.
Which is a good thing. Which is a great thing.
So I do feel like, I mean, like I said, just reading this is like, man, this thing really, really got really got destroyed. So I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna play around with it. I'm gonna see how it feels. But I do feel like just reading this and reading some of the comments from some of the people in the community, this thing's gonna have to be addressed again at some point in the near future because people are not too excited that they use that super. So we'll see what they do with it. And then on the Dawnblade side of things, the Dawnblade super has been increased by 3 seconds. And the damage to majors, minors, and mini bosses, which is basically everybody in the game except the big bosses, increased by 43%. So that's pretty huge. So
Frankie was doing some serious damage with that last night. I noticed.
Yeah,
he was rocking that hard, man. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So that's everything that's going on with the supers. Just some things. Obviously, there's lots more that go on with the Titans and whatnot. But that's some of the stuff I wanted to highlight there in terms of the supers. But that's not where this update ends, Brent. We've also got a lot of stuff going on with the weapons. I think there's some interesting stuff in here. Specifically with the auto rifles. So base damage has been increased on rapid fire, high impact, and adaptive auto rifles by 9%, 5%, and 6% respectively. Have you had a chance to get in and try this out at all? I haven't picked up any of these auto rifles yet and given them a whirl to see how different they feel. But what's your initial thought on this buff?
The Valakadin was the one that I noticed was the one that benefited the most out of my selection of guns that I have, the assault rifles that I have. I didn't get a chance to use the Martyr's Make, which I always really liked in the Crucible. Martyr's Make was always really nice. Did not use the Cerberus, but I did use the Suros regime. And like when it's doing the slow firing for damage, it seemed like it was doing a little bit more. But the fast auto fire. To me, it felt like it was doing pretty good, but from my understanding, the changes on that side of it aren't quite where people expected it to be, considering the changes they made to the fast-firing auto rifles.
You got an interesting point when we were talking yesterday in terms of how Breakneck might factor into this.
Yeah, because I didn't see too many people testing that out because Breakneck it's listed as a 450, but obviously as you're getting kills, it speeds up. So I don't know because it'll go from a 600 to a 720, and obviously those are the speeds. Those are the adaptive and the
rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Those ones are all getting some of these boosts. So I am curious to see if that translates over to when that perk is activated.
Yeah. I'll keep my eyes out for some tests on that. I'm curious about that as well. Cause that could make that weapon even nastier than it already is. A 9% bump though on rapid fire. So like the Valakadin, for instance, that's pretty significant. Those things fire so many bullets so fast.
Yeah, I was melting guys with that thing. That thing was working really, really good, especially against Cabal. Oh my gosh, some of the Cabal guys were just dropping quick. The ones with the solar shields, nasty.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious to get in there and try that out myself. Scout rifles, also a lot of buzz about these scout rifles, Brent. So the base damage on lightweight scout rifles and rapid fire scout rifles increased by 5 and 6% respectively. Then all scout rifles have had their damage increased in PvE by 10%, so making them an even more viable option. You were telling me yesterday that there's been a lot of buzz about this Black Scorpion. What's the deal with that thing, man?
It sounds like it's pretty nasty. I actually have one. I don't like the roll that I have on it though. I can't remember what it is right now, but I looked at it and was like, I kind of wish I had I would have had somebody or a better roll for that. But from the video I saw, it looked pretty gross. Yeah,
I'm curious to get in there and give those things a whirl. A quick note on sniper rifles: you can 2-shot Guardians to the body in PvP now with rapid fire sniper rifles. So I think that pairing along with the last word, I think we're going to see a lot of that. So I'm going to keep my eyes out for that in the Crucible once I hop in there a little bit more. Now, something I did notice is what's going on with grenade launchers. So this is significant, especially if you have yet to go and attempt to get the mountaintop quest or go through that quest line. This is going to significantly impede your progress when doing that. So they've tweaked grenade launcher projectiles to feel more consistent on direct hits. However, proximity grenades can no longer impact directly, which prevents special ammo grenade launchers from one-shotting with the perk active. So, Brent, this was the thing that made the Malicious Birthright so special. So you're able to get that gun. You're able to put it into your primary slot. It uses special ammo. So unlike something like the play of the game, which uses heavy ammo, it's a fantastic grenade launcher, probably the best one in the game. But to be able to have a Malicious Birthright and be able to use that for your grenade launcher kills and have it roll with proximity grenades, and have it use special ammo, like you could go through the Crucible and you could get these kills on enemies. And proximity grenades really makes that gun. And to have that perk nerfed, and now you can't one-shot Guardians with that thing active. That's a killer, dude. I went into the Crucible. I took the Birthright in there, and I was firing some direct hits on people, and it was not killing them. And I was just hanging my head. I was like, that's
as soon
a damn
as
shame.
you get it, they nerf the hell out of it.
Yeah, so that's really disappointing. I'm curious how how people are going to take to that change, but I'll have to monitor how that goes. They've done some other things to increase some of the perks around, but that's huge. Like nerfing proximity grenades or special ammo grenade launchers with proximity grenades. That one's a killer, man. Another gun I've been hearing a lot of buzz about is Acreus, Brent, Legend of Acreus. It's had a small bump to its range by 0.5 meters, but from what I understand, this is seemingly making all the difference in the world, not only in the Crucible, but in PvE, where the damage has been increased by 50%. And from what I understand, dude, this thing is now a behemoth in PvE. Like it is a dominant weapon in PvE now, from the heavy slot and from the shotgun perspective. Have you heard any of the buzz about this thing yet, dude?
I haven't. This is the first I've heard of it, so keep talking because I'm ready to go get that baby out of my vault.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. But yeah, go watch some videos when we're done with the show here and see what Acreus is up to, because this thing is coming into a second wind, a new life of its own here. And one of the things I did test out when we were going through the Shattered Throne yesterday was the Telesto. Also used it in Escalation Protocol when we were doing that. But while it's been adjusted in PvP, it's had the base damage reduced from each bolt by 19%, and it's had the optics change to come in line with other fusion rifles of its type. So I have not tested it out in the Crucible yet to see how different it feels. But in PvE, the damage was increased by 30%. Prior to this, Brent, I used the Telesto in PvE all the time, and it was, in my opinion, a dominant fusion rifle. It's extremely powerful. You could really hammer into enemies, especially those mini bosses, those yellow barred enemies. The Telesto was really useful for that. And using it last night in Escalation Protocol and in the Shattered Throne, I could feel that 30% increase. This thing felt significantly more powerful than it did prior, and this thing was already powerful in my opinion. So the Telesto just became an even more useful weapon in PvE. Now, how it's going to fare in the Crucible, that remains to be seen. But from a PvE standpoint, dude, this thing is aces. Really felt good using that thing last night.
Yeah, it was doing some damage. I was watching out there, man. You were killing a lot of creatures with that thing, man. That was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, yellow bars come out and the thing just eats right through them. It's really useful. If you got a stack of ammo in there, and it has a decent clip, you can hold 16, 17 rounds in the Telesto at a time. So if you run into a firefight and you got 17 rounds in that thing, you can burn through these majors in a really quick way. So, really digging the Telesto, even more so than I was before. And then one other thing we want to note: the Wave Splitter also been nerfed, reduced by 19% on medium damage mode, 27% on high damage mode.
Oh my!
These adjustments were made to bring it in line with the other trace rifles in the Crucible. It's important to note, though, that adjustments were made to keep the damage output the same in PvE. So that side of the gun has not been touched. This only applies to the Crucible. But I'm sure Wave Splitter fans are finding it tough to sleep these nights with their baby getting things done to it. So that's some of the main stuff I wanted to go through in terms of the update here, Brent. A lot of this update we've talked about with the changes to the Black Armory and whatnot over the weeks here on the show. But that's kind of the stuff that we've gone in, that we've experienced. That's the stuff that stood out to me. Anything else in this update that you've either experienced, given a whirl, or that we didn't talk about?
No, I think you touched on a lot of the main points, a lot of the things that stood out to us. I didn't really get too deep looking into that because I was so focused on the last word and focused on the Shattered Throne. I wasn't really looking for a lot of the smaller changes to see what kind of impact they made. But the ones that we listed about were some of the bigger ones that we were looking forward to, and they are very noticeable in some, not so much in others. But yeah, you can definitely tell there were some changes made.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear your take on Acreus. So definitely pull that out of the vault before next week's Tower Talk. I want to hear your thoughts on that thing, man.
Got you covered.
Yeah, so we will continue to work our way through this update. A lot of things you want to test, a lot of things you want to do, a lot of things you want to play with. So we'll report back on anything that's meaningful that we find as we move through the weeks here on the show. But let's get into this week at Bungie, Brent. So obviously they started this week's post with hey, the last word's out now. This is what's going on with this, and the Whisper quest is live all the time now. So you can go there, which of course, if you don't have Whisper the Worm, please go to IO and get this weapon. It's one of the best in the game. So get that, and they talked about everything that's going on with Destiny and how they're kind of we're making our way towards the end of the season of the Forge here. It seems crazy that we're already approaching season of the Drifter, but so with that said, as we're wrapping up season of the Forge, season of the Drifter right around the corner, and they wanted to give us a few hints at what's going on with season of the Drifter. So there's some very interesting things in this week at Bungie, Brent, and we're going to start with what they're doing with clans. So they've been gathering feedback on clans and progression and rewards and all that kind of stuff. And we had Steve Dolan and if I don't die here, and Mark Uyeda were on the blog here to talk what they're doing with clans. So here's what they had to say. These past 2 seasons, we tried some new things. During that time, we've gathered hard data, heard a ton of feedback, and now we're going to walk you through what's next. Whenever we're talking game design, it's always good to discuss the design goals. In Forsaken, we were trying to create, first, stronger clans where players can make new friends, and second, stronger incentives for clans to play with their clanmates. We feel good about how many of these changes affected large and strong clans, but we've also received a ton of feedback from the community that the Forsaken changes affected smaller and less hardcore clans positively. These clans feel like they can no longer hit the levels they had in the past. We also heard that there's just too much emphasis on doing daily bounties. Brent, real quick, your thoughts on that feedback. Does that mirror your own feelings? Do you think this is kind of spot on with how the community feels about this?
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't mind the new changes to them. So, I mean, I guess with clan bounties, I grab them and I go do them, and I don't even really keep track of them. I mean, I do appreciate the changes. I do like the old way, but I never felt like the new way was like a distraction or it didn't work. Like I didn't really, I guess it didn't really affect me one way or the other with that thing.
Yeah, we kind of got used to it, right? At first it was a little jarring. It was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to pick up a bounty to do this now, but now I can't even remember. I can't even remember how it was before. It's
right.
like this is just we just kind of got used to it. But I think more interestingly in there was when he talks about how these changes affected large clans versus small clans. So our clan currently is pretty small. It's a pretty small hardcore clan. Do you feel like we don't have a chance to get to the end of these clan rewards? Like last season, we didn't get to the end. We didn't get to the final reward. This season, we're kind of teetering in the middle. We have a chance maybe to get to the end by the end of the season. But by that point, are we really going to be able to take advantage of the bonuses anyways? So do you feel like there's some truth in there that these large clans are benefiting from this greatly and the smaller ones are not?
Man, I'm gonna to be honest with you, I've never felt the rewards have been that rewarding. Like I've never gone and looked. I don't make a point to go check like where are we at, because every time I go look at the rewards, I'm just kind of like, okay, I get a legendary engram. It's not powerful. I get something legendary. That's cool. But I've never felt like the clan system, the way it rewards, has ever been like super rewarding. And that's out of all the things that we do every week, the powerful engrams and all the different challenges, the bounty ones for the clan bounties are the ones I visit often or the least, and I don't even bother checking the clan level because I've never ever been blown away by those rewards.
Yes. And that is a valid point, and I share those feelings, and that is about to change with Season 6, which I'm very excited about. So let's continue on here. As a result of this feedback, we took some of the clan progression mechanics back to the workbench and made changes to improve the experience. So starting in Season 6, in Season of the Drifter, first of all, we're returning to the Destiny 2 launch system for gaining clan experience. Go play activities in the game, you will earn clan XP and level up your clan. While we are used to the new system, Brent, I do like this. I do like that they're going back to the way it was in the beginning of Destiny 2, where we just played the game and we just organically gained clan XP by playing the game. I think that makes a lot of sense. The clan bounties, they just added an extra layer on top that wasn't really necessary for this particular aspect of the game. So I like this. As a result, daily clan bounties are no longer needed and have been removed from the game. So this is coming up in Season 6. That said, there will now be 3 weekly bounties that require playing with your clanmates to complete. So this is essentially there's 3 of them every week right now. There's a section of those bounties that require you to do things with your clanmates. Sounds like some form of that is going to continue on here with Season 6. So there will always be 1 PvE, 1 raid, and 1 PvP weekly bounty from Hawthorne. They reward legendary gear and a big chunk of clan XP. As your clan levels its banner, the rewards you receive from these bounties grow. So at rank 3, you'll earn mod components when completing a weekly bounty. So now we're talking. Getting mod components when you're hitting rank 3, that's useful. Even more useful, at rank 4, you earn enhancement cores when completing a weekly bounty. This is huge. Having a reliable way to get enhancement cores is a big deal in Destiny right now because those suckers are tough to come by. And at rank 6, your clan will unlock a 4th weekly bounty. Ooh. Now, before I get to the really, really interesting part of this, Brent, what is your thoughts on everything that they're doing with the clan system in Season 6? So the organic bounties or the zero bounties, the weekly bounties, and this new tiered reward system, which looks to be far more rewarding than what we've come across prior.
First of all, I love the idea that you just go out and start doing stuff and you're earning clan XP. I think that's really, really good. You don't have to. The bounties were nice, like you said. The bounties were nice, but I always liked it about the original. You just go out and start doing stuff, and you just see that clan XP popping up. Like, all right, that's cool. I like the fact that the big bounties are tied to the big events, PvE, raid, and PvP. That's cool. I like that. Legendary gear, a big chunk of that goes to clan XP, which it should. Those are big parts of the game. But this banner thing, this level banner thing where these bounties grow, finally, now we have rewards. And, dude, they come with the best stuff that we items that were really kind of difficult to get that cost a lot of legendary shards or a lot of weapon components. Mod components when completing a weekly bounty is rank 3. Rank 4, enhancement cores when completing a weekly bounty. That's sexy, dude. And then at rank 6, your clan will unlock a 4th weekly bounty. But these are things that people really, really, really need. Enhancement cores, components. That's hot.
Yeah. I wonder what that 4th weekly bounty is going to be. You got any thoughts on that? Like what they might base that around?
Dude, I don't know what they would do on that, dude. I have no idea.
Maybe something with Gambit or something.
I'm trying to think. What is something else that people really, really need outside of mod components, enhancements cores? It has to be something, right? It has to be something that is super... Like wanted by the community. Like, could it be an exotic? Could it be something along those lines? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe something Black Armory related.
Ooh, that'd be sweet.
Interesting.
Get a curated role for one of those weapons that you want.
Maybe, yeah. But it doesn't end there, Brent. And the best part of this is what I'm about to read here. So, we also wanted to briefly talk about the Tier 5 perk for Season 6. The perk reads as follows: Crucible and Strike Catalyst have an increased drop rate when playing with clanmates. Let me repeat that again. Crucible and Strike Catalyst have an increased drop rate when playing with clanmates. This is huge. For those of you who haven't found all of the available catalysts, you'll have a better chance to find the ones you're missing. So if you've been playing Destiny, even if you've been playing Destiny 2 for 8,000 hours, I'd be surprised if you have all of the Crucible and all of the Strike Catalysts at this point. That is how rare these things are. I think I have 1 Strike Catalyst, maybe 2, and then the Crucible. I don't know if I've gotten any Crucible Catalysts. I don't think I've got I did get the Jade Rabbit, I believe, which I believe is a Crucible Catalyst. But outside of that, nothing. So with that, obviously you'll have a better chance to find the ones you're missing. If you already have them all, lucky you, we plan to release a few more from our Year 1 reserve during Season of the Drifter for you to chase. They won't be released day 1 of Season 6, but keep your eyes on the patch notes for availability. We hope these changes will help keep clans of all sizes thriving and chasing after each season's rewards. As always, we can't wait to hear your feedback. Brent, I can't wait to hear your feedback, your thoughts on a perk that's going to give us access to catalysts in a major way, and also the fact that catalysts are returning finally with Season 6, and we're going to get some of these ones that we have yet to see from some of our Year 1 exotics. And maybe even giving us a chance to pull some of these things out of the vault and give them a better chance to shine in the current sandbox. Me, get your thoughts, dude.
I guess, there you go. That's one of the things that I really, really want are catalysts. I mean, if you look at it, dude, I mean, seriously, mod components, enhancement cores, and catalysts. Those are things that people really, really want. And but to tie these to the clan bounties, I don't know about you, man, but I don't want to play a lot of more Destiny 2 with you and Frankie and the rest of the clan. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
so that's a great way to make the clan bounties more appealing, get people more involved, is by tying in these items that people desperately need. This is great, man. This is really good stuff.
Yeah, I like this, dude. I really like the catalyst system. It significantly changes some of these exotic weapons in a big way. Mm-hmm. There some of them get some just gun altering perks when you get these catalysts, and they're a grind, and they're just it's always exciting when one of these things drops, and then you go through like the mini quest to get the thing activated and fully masterworked and put it on your gun. I think these are a really cool addition to the game, and I'm a little bit shocked that they've gotten away from this a little bit in the subsequent seasons since they've released this idea, because I always thought this idea went over really well with the community, and it seems like everybody likes this. So I'm glad that they're coming back, that they're bringing these out. For sure, the Graviton Lance, the Sweet Business, and the Sunshot will have their catalyst put back into the mix. Finally, those of us have been waiting since the end of faction rallies. So those will definitely be back in the mix, and I'm sure we'll get things like Hard Light and some of the other ones that have yet to have their catalyst release. But really, really excited about that. That was definitely the most exciting news of the week for me, is reading that they're doing stuff with exotic catalysts. Some housekeeping stuff here real quick in terms of the Season 5 to Season 6 switch. Ethereal keys from the last Wish raid will have a maximum stack size of 5. If you currently have a stockpile, make sure you turn them in before the end of the season, as any keys over the cap of 5 will be removed. And this is an interesting one here, Brent. Iron Banner bounties from Season of the Forge will expire and be removed from player inventory. Iron Banner bounties are being refreshed for Season 6 with new objectives, which we will speak to closer to the Season of the Drifter. What's your thoughts on that, man? Can we maybe get away from this 50 orb bounty that continues to show up every week? Can we put that one in the trash and bring out something new?
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to figure out a way they could come up with more unique bounties instead of just, kill X amount of people. I always like the bounties that are multi-tiered.
Yeah.
They have multi-tiered bounties. I mean, they don't have to make them super difficult, but I do find those to be a little bit more appealing. But yeah, what changes they would make to them, I don't know how they would refresh it, but no, I'm looking forward to that, man. I love me some Iron Banner. Yeah,
very curious to see what's going to become from that. And I think really what this week at Bungie told me this week, Brent, more so than anything, is we're coming to the end of Season of the Forge, and we're ready to start talking about what Season of the Drifter is going to encompass. So I think over these next few weeks, we're going to be building up to the season. We're going to be talking more and more about the future of this game and what Season of the Drifter is going to bring. So that's exciting, man. And really, when you think about it, as we finish up on the last day of January here, we're just over a month away from Season of the Drifter. We've already gone through Season of the Outlaw with the beginning of Forsaken. We're already 2/3 of the way through Season of the Forge. We're about to start Season of the Drifter here soon. This is time is just flying by in this game, dude. It's crazy.
It's got a lot to do, keeping us busy. Time goes by.
Yeah. Do want to make note of a couple of known issues with Season of the Forge right now that are in the limelight. So compound ether and unstable radial area. We have identified an issue preventing compound ether from dropping from Fallen for the basic sniper rifle frame, and unstable radial area from dropping from Vex for the basic bow frame. We are investigating deploying a fix for this issue. So that is out there in the ether. They know that they're working on it. Missing weapon frames. We have identified an issue causing weapon frames to go missing from player inventories. We are investigating deploying a fix for this issue. That's kind of scary. Just weapon frame just vanishes from inventory.
I don't want that.
So you alluded to this, Brent, but there are a couple of issues with the draw quest right now. In terms of the temptation step, players have reported some confusion over progressing the temptation step for the draw quest. To make progress on this quest step, a player must defeat other Guardians in the Crucible. Each time the player dies in the Crucible, they will lose some progress toward completion. Now, is that confusion from people, or is it just, hey, I suck at the Crucible, and I'm not like, hey, I don't think this thing's working right. My percentage is not going up. But yeah, you gotta kill more people than times you die, dude.
I feel like anybody who's played through Destiny 1 knows how these work. They know how it'll impede your progress. They have an idea how it works. I'm not really sure. I mean, like I said, these must just be new people that are new to this type of quest, and they don't understand that you actually have to go in there and get killed. It's an exotic weapon, and look, it's not a ridiculously hard quest, but you're gonna have some skill. You're gonna have to go in there and perform and do well if you want to get it quickly. If not, you'll just get it over time. But yeah, if you go in running and gunning and with this type of quest, you're going to have a tougher time getting it. You have to play a little bit smarter, a little bit slower, and eventually you'll get to it. But no, I really don't know where the confusion. I think it explains itself pretty well in the description.
Yeah, that to me sounds like an unskilled player being like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on here, man. My progression bar is not going up. I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, and there are plenty of ways they could have made this quest tougher on you, or made it. They could have made you use a specific weapon. They could have made you use hand cannons, but they let you use any weapon. Just go in there, get kills with, and you can just go in there and do your thing with whatever weapon you feel comfortable with, and you can progress to this step. So, in Destiny 1, that would have never happened. They would have been like, they probably would have told you which hand cannon to use. They would have been like, go get this hand cannon from Banshee, and you got to use that one to get the kills in the Crucible. And you're like, right. I don't want to use this thing. But yeah, so they've definitely eased up a little bit on these quests in Destiny 2. That's for damn sure. There were some tough quests in Destiny 1, dude. The last word was one of them. But I mean, you think back to something like the Thorn quest. That thing was brutal. I mean, and I don't remember how many kills you had to get, but all those kills you had to get in the Crucible, and
wasn't it 500 or something?
Something like that. Yeah, like 500 void kills or something. And your progress would get reset when you died, or your progress would deplete when you died, and so all that stuff was totally Destiny 1. So, but yeah, these quests were far more piercing in Destiny 1. So, be happy that they've eased off this a little bit for Destiny 2. And then you also mentioned this earlier, Brent, but the conversation quest in terms of, or the conversation step in the draw quest, we are investigating player reports that they did not receive the last word exotic after completing the conversation portion of the draw quest. Some players encountering this issue have reported that restarting the mission and progressing more slowly resolved the issue. So that's like you were saying, Brent. You kind of had you kind of ran in there running and gunning. If you take your time, you get the witch's attention, and then go through that mission, you have a better chance of that completing with no issues. So that is what's going on in the kind of in the error world of Destiny. But other than that, Brent, that is pretty much going to do it for us this week. So once again, a lot of stuff going on in the world of Destiny. Last word is the highlight, though. And I know I've got a lot of stuff on my plate, a lot of stuff I want to accomplish before Season of the Drifter comes out. And one of those things is getting in there and doing these damn raids, dude. So we need to make an effort to get in there. We're way above the power level of Last Wish right now. It's both a gift and a curse when we do these things. The last few raids we've been able to get in there kind of on the tail end of when the raids were out, and obviously we were far stronger than the recommended requirements of the raid. So that obviously affects the challenge a little bit. So these things are still going to be challenging when we go in there. There's no doubt, but it is much different than when you get in there those first few weeks. But yeah, we need to get in there and experience these and do these. I want to do these at some point in February, so we can have basically all of the content complete, so that when Season of the Drifter comes out, we can rock and roll with that.
That would be ideal, yes. And yeah, man, like you said, it was a great week. This weekend we're gonna finish up. We're gonna get Frankie the Wish Ender. And Frankie's in the chat. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Frankie?
And yeah, man, we'll knock some stuff out this weekend and tie up a few more loose ends before the reset.
Excellent. Well, hopefully, I'll be back in the flesh next week for Tower Talk, and I won't be just a warlock holding the Cerberus. We'll see. We'll see how the computer treats us. But if you like what we do here on Tower Talk, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you always know when we go live. We do Tower Talk Thursdays at at 10 p.m. usually. Obviously, we start a little bit later tonight due to technical issues, but typically around 10 p.m. Eastern, we'll go live. We'll talk about everything that was revealed in this week at Bungie and everything that's going on in the game and what we're doing and all that fun stuff. We love having you guys in the chat. Brent, you want to give a shout out to everybody you saw in the chat here today?
Yeah, Frankie was here, JD, Fastback, Coop, VOX Sanity was in here, so we had the usual suspects, and we appreciate you guys stopping by. I always do. It's always fun to talk Destiny 2 with other fans, so thanks again for stopping by. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, I love having you guys in here. And if you're watching the video on demand, you weren't able to join us live, no worries. Definitely hop into the comments of the video. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we talked about. Do you have the last word? Are you excited about it? We want to hear about that from all you guys. So, other than that, that's going to do it for us this week. For Brent, I'm Ben. Thanks for watching the show. We'll see you guys next week. Actually, we'll see you guys this weekend, hopefully, when we're streaming Anthem again. So we'll have that going, and we'll have lots of stuff, throughout the weeks here, streaming on the show, or Tuesday night, Spotlight, all that stuff's coming up. But Tower Talk will be back next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night. We'll talk about everything going on in Destiny. Until then, we'll see you guys later. Have a good evening.
See you guys.